What is going on, Washington Commander fans? This is JD coming at you from We Hail. We hail to the Redskins, we hail to the Commanders. We had a preseason game I want to talk about a couple days ago. Today is Sunday, August 13th. It is 8:16 a.m. I'm driving down to Maryland to see my family. And yeah, we had a game on Friday. So here's some funny thing about Friday night before I get into the game. Is Friday night I was originally supposed to close at my job. I'm an area manager for Xfinity. And I was supposed to close one of the stores. And the next night I was supposed to work till 4, which was yesterday was Saturday. So I talked to one of my coworkers. He goes on vacation Sunday, but he closes on Saturday and he has to drive to where he's going for his vacation. So I was like, dude, why don't you switch me? You can close Friday and I'll close on Saturday and you can leave at like 4 o'clock. And you can be out of there rather than wait until 7, have to drive and drive late. He's like, oh man, that's a great idea. So I have that whole plan set up. The plan is to get home by about 5 o'clock-ish, be able to make dinner, be able to relax, have myself, prop my feet up, watch the game on NFL Plus. So did all that, got home in time, got good R&R, and then the game's delayed like 2 hours or an hour and a half or whatever it was. So I'm like, well, I could have just worked till 7 and been home by like 7:30 and watched this damn thing. I didn't want to risk it because sometimes you can get a person very late and you're not out there till like 8 o'clock or 8:30 sometimes. So this is the way the world works, I guess. It is what it is. So I could have just worked till 4 or worked till close and then had Saturday night off, I guess. It is what it is. But it happens. That's life. And you kind of just got to shrug at it, laugh at it, and just move on. But, however, I did enjoy watching the game for I watched pretty much the whole first half and then I fell asleep. So let's talk about this. So a lot of positives to come out of this. First off, I want to give a shout out to our owner. Our owner was there. And he was not there in the press box. He was not in an owner's box. He was out there in a poncho watching the game just like the rest of us peons. Rest of us fans out there. That's what I'm talking about. Not that I'm high and mighty and I'm above everything else like Dan Snyder was. It's that Josh Harris, I'm out here, I'm one of the people. And, you know, give me a hot dog, give me a poncho. I'll sit in the rain with you, enjoy the game with you guys because I'm a fan too. Why not? We're all fans together. Let's all embrace it together. That's what I like. This is just so many good things, and I really hope this is not just like false bravado, and then like in a month from now it's gonna like Dan Snyder 2.0. I really don't think that, but knowing that as a Washington fans is how we've had such bad luck. You just never know. But I really like the fact that our owner is this wholesome a person. Not a lot of billionaires are like down to earth like that, and he seems to be one of the down to earth ones. He really seems like a really true fan. Dan Snyder was like a fan and like he wanted to control things. Josh Harris is a fan of the team and he's the owner. There's a difference. And he understands that being an owner is different than being a fan, and you can't let the two kind of cross over and like bump heads with each other. So I get that, and I'm respecting him more and more. Every time I see him and see a story about him, I respect him more and more and more and more every single time I see him. And I really like that. What I also want to say is I also enjoy the fact that I'll get to that here in a second. Let's talk about some very good positives from the game. The first positive I want to talk about is Sam Howell. There's been a lot of skepticism, both nationally. I don't think locally there's been a lot of skepticism because a lot of guys that see stuff in practice and see how Sam Howell does in practice. So I don't think locally there's skepticism. But I think nationally there's been skepticism for sure because he's a 5th rounder. A lot of the pundits don't really pay attention to actual scouting. So they're just going off of like, oh, well, what round was he drafted in? Oh, yeah, he's going to suck. Not the case. Sam Howell, I think, did fantastic. He was not under duress all night, but he definitely didn't have clean, unprotected pockets or untouchable. Like he had a clean, like 4 yards between him and the offensive line pockets. It was closing in on him a lot, but he made really good throws, pinpoint throws, made good decisions. Everything you want from a quarterback, he did. The only one thing he did was get sacked because he might have held the ball a smidge too long because he second-guessed the throw, and I'd rather him be precautious there and take a sack than not be precautious and do like a Heineke or a Wentz thing and throw a pick. So you take that as you will, and I'll take the 1 sack because he was 9 of 12, and for the most part, I think he played exceptionally well. I'm going to say for the most part, he played well. Okay, he didn't make bad decisions when he threw it away when he had to, threw in the dirt when he had to. Like I said, he got that 1 sack, but that 1 sack, if you take 1 sack over the course of 3 series, and you're doing well, I don't have an issue. 75% completion percentage, He drove the ball down. It wasn't like he was dinking and dunking. He did do some of that, but when he had to, instead of going for a 3-yard short pass to potentially get close to a 4th down conversion, he got 13 out of it to Cole Turner. Him and Cole Turner got some pretty good chemistry. And then he throws a dime to Josh Dotson. It was a weird angle, so Josh Dotson did adjust well and caught it. Then he gets in the end zone. Okay, and he also threw a really good dime to John Bates. So that's another good one he threw. Now John Bates dropped it, and there was a holding call. But the point was, he made the right read. The only thing I'd say on that is might just throw the ball a little sooner. Maybe John Bates doesn't have to worry about the sideline then. But he cleared the defender a lot sooner. Sam Howell held it maybe a second too long. But if he thrown it a little sooner, maybe that's why he dropped it. He was concerned about being in bounds and his feet rather than just catching the football. It's possible. I don't know. I guess you have to talk to John Bates on that. But the way it looks like to me, that could have been why he dropped it. Also could be he doesn't have as good a hands as Cole Turner. But all in all, very impressed with Sam Howell. What I'm also impressed with, this is what I said all last year, and I will hammer this into the dirt until I'm blue in the face. Last year I said this. Everyone was like, quarterback sucks. Quarterback sucks. Like, no, and offensive line sucks. You can't do anything with that, blah, blah, blah. And then they would always give everyone blame except for the offensive coordinator. They said our quarterbacking sucks and our offensive line sucks. No, I think our offensive line sucks because our quarterback sucks because the offensive line sucks. I think Wentz could have done a little bit better, and even Taylor Heineke with a better offensive line, absolutely. But you know what can also help the offensive line is scheme, calling plays. You saw that third series, they started running draws. They started actually getting downhill and running the ball. They ran like 4 run plays on that play, went for like 7 yards or more. Okay? And as soon as you start doing that, guess what? Your play action works better. The defense is on their heels and not pinning their ears back coming after you. And guess who's able to make passes or make good connections with his receivers? Sam Howell. Guess who moved the pocket? They moved the pocket for him. They ran draws. They ran screens. They ran quick outs. They ran a whole bunch of things that alleviate the pass rush and make it so the defensive line or offensive line doesn't have to sit there and hold a guy down for like 9 seconds or a 7-step drop or whatever. Got rid of the ball quick, and that's something that could have been adjusted last year by our previous offensive coordinator. Even though we had lesser quarterbacks, I'm not going to argue the lesser quarterback thing. But I will argue, though, is it could have been done last year and it wasn't done. And that's a massive difference between a offensive coordinator that's mediocre at best and a good offensive coordinator. That's a drastic difference. Some subtle scheme changes, and we go from not being able to move the ball very good at all to bam, bam, bam in the end zone very quickly with the defense on their heels. Josh Dotson caught the ball very awkwardly, and there wasn't a guy within like 10 yards of him. They closed the gap, and he still got in the end zone. But you have that whenever you have good scheme, and whenever your plays are set up, the defense really doesn't know what you're doing. So that's going to happen, and that happens with good offensive coordinating. So I think there's a lot to be encouraged with when it comes to the offense. You also have good players on. This person's driving like a freaking idiot. God bless. Okay, sorry, I'm driving, and the person's driving like an idiot. They're literally all over the road. All right. What else with the offense? I think the running backs all did pretty good. They had a pretty good, like, Chris Rodriguez? Is that his name? The running back we drafted. I don't remember his name. I don't have the thing right in front of me that says his name. But he ran very well. He averaged like over 8 yards a carry. He ran very well. The tight end, I think one of the tight ends played very well, and that's Cole Turner. The second tight end did not. John Bates blocked well, but he dropped a really good, like, 30-yard gain. But for the most part, I think all the skill positions played well. The quarterback, running back, tight end, they played well. Offensive line, after like a rewatch, it's not as bad as you think. They're still they're still there. It's just, I think a little bit of weather has to do with some of this. I think weather might be a smidge factor, so we'll see. But it's an offensive line, and they only have like really one starter from last year, and that's Cornelius. Charles Leno. Charles Leno is the only starter from last year. You've had Sam Cosmi, but he's not playing tackle, he's playing guard. So we'll see. I think the offensive line will get better. I think that is one of the better defensive lines. Now, they didn't have one of the best players, but I still think that is one of the better defensive lines in the NFL. So I don't want to be too discouraged by the offensive line. At least I'm not. You might be. I'm not as discouraged as I was. I do think we have decent depth. When backups were in, they did pretty well getting downhill. They did pretty well getting out in space. So it's the first time running this against anyone but our defense. So I'm discouraged a little bit by Andrew Wiley. I'm a little concerned about the right tackle position, but I'm not discouraged with the point where I'm gonna I'm not gonna throw up my hands in panic. We're not at that point yet. Okay, we can obviously do better, and we're gonna get better. But I'm not upset with the offense. I think there's some things that need to improve on the offense. But all in all, skill position and quarterback-wise, very happy with what I saw. Now let's move on to the defense. And I'm really happy that Eric Bieniemy made the adjustments. He showed exactly what a good offensive coordinator can do: make adjustments, alleviate the pressure that's on the offensive line, and give the quarterback time to throw. Whether it's giving them an ability to do a rollout, or giving them the ability to actually have a pocket, play action, and freeze the defense, and just make a good read and make a good throw. He showed that you can just call play and fix some. You can schematically fix some problems that we didn't schematically fix last year. We just kept calling plays. He said, hopefully they get it, or else we're going to get Carson Wentz sacked 9 times against his former team. Okay, so that's some positives I want to talk about from the offense, and a little bit of negatives from the offensive line. But I think it can get better. I think it's definitely a work in progress. We'll get there. Eric Bieniemy's not going to just scheme these guys into oblivion. Okay, we're going to scheme these guys to be successful and to win. So defense, I'm not as concerned. Everyone's concerned that the first drive and that the Browns did whatever they wanted. I'm not that concerned. We're not trying to give teams a whole bunch of visuals on what we're doing defensively. We kept that scheme was very basic. Sometimes we had 2 linebackers in the game. We have a lot of schemes where we have 5 down linemen and 6 DBs. Okay, we have a lot of schemes where there's 4 down linemen, 1 linebacker, and 5 DBs. Okay, so 6 DBs. So there's a lot of schemes we're going to run that we weren't running in that. Jack Del Rio was not going to give away a lot of what we're going to do defensively in a preseason game. It's vanilla offense, it's vanilla defense. Okay, I will say I think whenever you're playing, I'm not going to say the weather was a factor, but it could have been a factor. I don't know. I hope Chase Young and Mathis got a little banged up. I hope they're okay. But all in all, I think the defense, the only thing I'm concerned about with the defense is the linebackers. Linebackers got sucked up a couple times, and they weren't in good spots to pursue and make tackles. Also, with a mobile quarterback, which most quarterbacks nowadays have some form of mobility, you have to have the ability to chase down a quarterback and prevent him from getting 10 yards every time he scrambles. Okay, you also got to tackle. Now, this is something that's a product of preseason. Whenever you have preseason and you have training camp, you can't hit quarterbacks. So guys are good at getting to the quarterback and not actually pulling them down. So that'll come over time with a couple extra preseason games. We'll knock that rust off. That'll get knocked off. I'm confident in that. Chase Young had some massively good moves, more than just one type of move. Got to the quarterback multiple times. Same with Montez. Same with guys in the middle. If we could have wrapped up, you just saw like a demonstration of a lot of sacks by our defensive line without any real no blitzing, nothing really crazy coming off the edges, nothing. Just 4 guys pinning their ears back and going and getting the guy. Okay, we wrapped some of those up. We're having a completely different conversation about our defense. Okay, I don't think the defense said too much. I think Jack Del Rio straight up did not want to give away any of his secrets, anything like that. So I think there's a massive difference between what we're going to run and what we ran last night or 2 nights ago. So if you're concerned about it, I am concerned about linebackers. I'm a little concerned with Quan Martin. He wasn't for a second round pick. Washington just has a history of missing on second round picks. Samuel Cosme seems to be like a bright light that's going to be fine for us, but we'll see on Quan Martin. The reason why I'm saying that is he looked in some spots like he wasn't in the right spots a lot of times. He looked like he was a little lost. Okay, I don't think he was. He just looked like it. So we'll see. Maybe that's because he's not used to the vanilla scheme we're running, and I don't know. Maybe we're just running something more complex and something really simple just throws him off. It's possible. That does happen. Sometimes something too simple can be just too simple compared to something complex. Not the easiest thing in the world. I played chess with someone. If you do something very simple in a complex chess game, sometimes it just throws off the game. Like, why they do that? It just throws you for a loop. So it happens. So it could happen with him. I don't know. We'll see. He got more than one preseason game for a reason. But I think he'll be fine. That's really the only concerns I have. We have good depth in the secondary. Our secondary played well throughout the entire game. So Danny Johnson. We had Percy Butler got a pick. Holmes did very good. So we have a lot of good things. I'm very impressed with what we did. Now there's obviously room for improvement. There's obviously room for things to get better. Jamin Davis and what's his name, Cody Barton, need to do a little better. They got sucked up a couple times, and you got to be able to close gaps on the sidelines. The running game really was flowing for the Browns early because they were able to get to the edges, and we had no pursuit. We had no pursuit at all. I do want to give a good shout out to Forbes and Pearl for a goal line stop, and then Montez Sweat getting tackled in the backfield for a goal line stop. Very good, very excellent play. Saved us from getting a touchdown. We did get a safety shortly after that, but that wasn't anyone's fault but Andrew Wiley. So, yeah, I'm very impressed with what I saw out of the Washington Commanders on Friday night. Did some things very well, made adjustments. Like I said, on the defensive side, I don't think they're trying to show too much. I think they know what they're going to do. They know what kind of scheme is going to work for them. They're just not showing a lot of it. Offense, they don't care about showing too much because their goal is to get chemistry. Their goal is to see how they do against different defensive looks. Now, Browns are obviously running a vanilla scheme just like us, but they were bringing pressure. They were blitzing. So that's something a little new that Washington defense probably didn't do a lot in practice. So I'm encouraged by Washington and what they did on Friday. You should be encouraged too. I think Sam Howell's great. I think he's the truth. Honestly, I've been on this, I don't say bandwagon, but I've been on this thing for all offseason that Sam Howell is it. He ran it. He came in last year. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, then we're done with the video. He came in last year on the last week of the season. He was running a playbook that wasn't built for him. Okay, by an offensive coordinator that sucked. Okay, by an offensive line that was worse last year than it was yesterday. Okay, against a team that, and you can say what you want, Dallas did play their starters. Their starting defense did play, and he played darn well against them. And in a game where I think Ron was just trying to win and be conservative, if they'd have just let him throw the ball like 30 times, we probably could have saw more from him. Okay, they just played it very conservative. He only threw the ball 19 times. That's not very much. Okay, now there was some scrambles he had, so maybe you could say that he had the opportunity to throw like maybe a little bit more. I don't know. But if we'd had a game plan to have him throw like 30, 35 times, it might be a completely different discussion we're having about how Sam Howell plays. I don't know. We'll see. But I am excited about the next one. I think the next one is the Ravens, I believe, if I'm correct. So we'll play the Ravens in the next game. We're actually practicing at the Ravens facility. So that's going to be nice. So some joint practices are going to be very good for our offense and our defense. See a different offensive look, see a different defensive look. It's going to be exciting. But that's my video. I want to thank everyone for watching. This is We Hail. Follow me on Twitter. It's We Hail or @CommanderJBlank. So let me just think in the comment section down below. What do you think of the game Friday night? Are you encouraged? Are you discouraged? Let me know. Have a good one and see you.